Here we have a SAT math problem. Okay, let's go to the question. A line intersects two parallel lines forming four acute angles and four obtuse angles. The measure of one of these eight angles is 9x negative 220 degrees. The sum of the four of the eight angles is s degrees. Which of the following could not be equivalent to s for all values of x? Okay, now let me draw two parallel lines. Okay, here and here. And also another line which intersects the two parallel lines. And let me mark the two parallel lines over here and here. Okay, here we have two parallel lines. There is a third line which intersects the two parallel lines over here. Since the third line is intersecting the two parallel lines, four acute angles and four obtuse angles are formed. Okay, here we have the first acute angle, second acute angle, and the third acute angle and fourth acute angle. And also here we have an obtuse angle, here we have an obtuse angle, and here we have four obtuse angles. And all the four acute angles are equal in measure, and all the four obtuse angles are equal in measure. Okay, now let me consider one of the acute angles over here, and I assume lowercase a is the measure of the acute angle over here. And let me consider one of the obtuse angles over here, and I assume lowercase b is the measure of the obtuse angle over here. When I combine this acute angle A and obtuse angle B, it forms a straight angle over here. We know that the measure of the straight angle is 180 degrees. That is, when I add this acute angle and this obtuse angle, they must add up to 180 degree because they together form a straight angle, and the measure of the straight angle is 180 degrees. Okay, now let's consider the information we have over here. That is, the measure of one of these eight angles is 9x negative 220 degrees. And we don't have any clear information about this angle. That is, whether it is an acute angle or obtuse angle. Okay, I assume this is the measure of one of the acute angles. If you want, you can consider this one as the measure of one of the obtuse angles. So anyways, the result will not change. I assume this is a measure of one of the acute angles. Then this must be the value of this lowercase a, because we have assumed this lowercase a is the measure of each of the four acute angles. Then we have a equals to 9x negative 220. Now we can plug in this stuff for a over here and solve for b. Okay, now let me plug in over here. That is 9x negative 220 positive b equals to 180. Now let's solve for b in this equation. For that, we have to subtract 9x from both sides of the equation, and also we have to add 220 to both sides of this equation. Okay, when I do so, this positive 9x, negative 9x will cancel out, and this negative value, positive value will cancel out. I get b on the left side. On the right side, we have negative 9x, and when I combine this positive 180 and positive 220, I am getting a positive 400. Okay, here I got the values of lowercase a and lowercase b in terms of x. Okay, now let's consider the other information. That is, sum of the four of the eight angles is s degrees. And here we don't have any clear information about the four angles mentioned over here. That is, whether all the four angles are acute angles or all the four angles are obtuse angles, and some of them are acute and some of them are obtuse. We don't have any clear information, so we have to consider all possible cases. Okay, now let's consider all the four angles are acute angles. Then S equals to sum of the four of the eight angles. When all of them are acute, then 4 times A. That is 4 times the measure of one of the acute angles. So this gives the sum of the four of the eight angles. Okay, in case I consider all the four are obtuse angles, and we have S equals to 4 times the measure of one of the obtuse angles, that is lowercase b. Or two of the angles will be acute and two of the angles will be obtuse. In that case, we'll have S equals to 2A positive 2B. Or one of the angles will be acute and the remaining three will be obtuse. In that case, I'm getting S equals to A positive 3B. Or three angles will be acute and one angle will be obtuse. Then we get 3A positive B. So these are all the possible cases we have to get the value of S. Okay, now what we can do is we can evaluate the value of S in each case. For that, we have to plug in this stuff 9x negative 220 for A and negative 9x positive 400 for B. Okay, first let me evaluate this one. That is 4 times the value of A is 9x negative 220 equals to 4 times 9x is 36x. And when I multiply 4 and negative 220, I'm getting negative 880. Okay, now let me evaluate the value of this one. That is 4 times the value of B is negative 9x positive 400. That is equal to 4 times negative 9x is negative 36x. And 4 times positive 400 is positive 1600. Okay, here let's evaluate this one. That is 2 times the value of A is 9x negative 220 positive, 2 times the B is negative 9x positive 400. Okay, here 2 times 9x is 18x, positive 2 times 220 is 440, and here positive times negative is negative, 2 times 9x is 18x, and positive 2 times positive 400 is positive 800. Okay, here positive 18x, negative 18x will cancel out. When I combine negative 440 and positive 800, I am getting positive 360. Okay, now let me evaluate this one. Okay, for A, we have 9x and negative 220, positive 3 times. For B, we have negative 9x positive 400. Okay, here 9x negative 220, positive times negative is negative, and 3 times 9x is negative 27x, and 3 times 400 is 1200. Okay, here when I combine this 9x and negative 27x, I am getting negative 18x, and when I combine this negative 220 and positive 1200, I am getting positive 980. Okay, now let's evaluate this one. That is 3 times the value of A, 9x negative 220, positive B is negative 9x positive 400. Okay, let me evaluate this one. That is 3 times 9x is 27x, and 3 times 220 is negative 660. And even when I distribute this positive sign to this one, I'll be getting the same stuff. That is a negative 9x and positive 400. Let's do some simplification over here. When I combine this 27x and negative 9x, I am getting positive 18x. And when I combine this negative 660 and positive 400, I am getting negative 260. Okay, now let me circle the results. So this is one of the results for S, and here we have the other result, the second one. And here we have the third one, and here we have the fourth one, and here we have the fifth one. Okay, now let's verify the given answer choices one by one. Okay, here in answer choice A, we have 360, and we got this 360 as a result over here. So it could be equivalent to S, but we have to find the one which could not be equivalent to S. We can reject answer choice A. Now let's consider the stuff in answer choice B. That is a negative 18x or positive 980. So we find this stuff over here. So this could be equivalent to S. We can reject answer choice B as well. Okay, now let's consider the stuff in answer choice C. Negative 36x positive 1600. We find this stuff over here. So this could be equivalent to S. We can reject answer choice C. Okay, now let me consider the stuff in answer choice D. That is 18x and negative 700. Okay, now let me search the results over here for 18x negative 700. But I don't find this one as result over here because we have only 5 possible results for S. I don't find this one in any of the 5 possible results I got over here. So this could not be equivalent to S. The correct answer choice for this question is D.